Alright, let's just call it out. The fastest way to kill your confidence when you speak has nothing to do with bad ideas. It is the small habits, the weak phrases, the filler words, those little things that sneak in and make you sound way less confident than you actually are. And here's the thing, confidence isn't about faking it or pretending you're just fearless. Confidence comes from habits, the way you stand, the clarity of your words, the way you cut filler words, the way you frame your points. When you practice those habits consistently, you naturally build credibility because you've replaced insecure habits with confident ones. You've turned nervousness multipliers into confidence multipliers. So today I'll walk you through two of the biggest credibility killers, how they show up in everyday conversations, and what you can do instead. Let's start with weak phrases. You know the ones, if that makes sense, this is just my opinion, I'm not sure, but maybe. You probably use these without even thinking. I used to do it too, and the reason we use them is pretty simple. We think it makes us sound polite, humble, less pushy. But the problem is, every time you use one of those phrases, you're telling people not to take your point seriously. You're framing your own idea as optional, uncertain, or unimportant. Let me show you what I mean. Let me start with a weak version. I'm not sure, but I think option B could work, maybe. Now here's the same idea without all of that unnecessary fluff. Option B is stronger, here's why. Which one makes you sound like you believe in what you're saying? Which one makes people actually want to lean in and listen more? Exactly. The fix here isn't about becoming aggressive or pushy in your opinion. It is about swapping weak language for respectful, confident framing. So instead of, this is just my opinion, say one perspective to consider is this. Instead of, if that makes sense, say, here's the logic behind it. Notice how those still sound very polite and respectful. You're not forcing your opinion on anyone, you're just owning it. And here's what I've learned. Even if you're not 100% sure, frame it with certainty, because if you don't stand behind your own ideas, why should anyone else? Now, undermining phrases kill credibility with your framing, but that's not the only thing. The other big one, and this might hurt, is filler words. Now, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I mean when I say filler words. So, I was thinking that like maybe we could, it's literally everywhere. And honestly, most people don't even notice how much they do it until they record themselves and see it from an outside perspective. And here's why filler words are such a massive problem. They signal you're not in full control of your own thoughts. They distract people from your message. They just hear noise, not the message. And over time, they chip away at your authority. So why do we do it? Well, two reasons. Habit and fear of silence. You said so many times it's on autopilot. Your brain throws it in the moment you need half a second to think. And silence feels just scary, so you cover it up with sound. The fix? You don't fight the head on. You replace it with something stronger. A pause. Let me walk you through how, though. Step one is literal awareness. You have to actually know when you're doing it. Most people don't. One way is to record yourself speaking for, let's say, a minute, then play it back and count the filler words. It's painful, but works. There is even this 30-day challenge I've seen a lot of people do on Instagram and TikTok, where they post one short video every single day, just focusing on cutting filler words out. And at first, they're full of ums and ahs. They're full of likes. But after a couple of weeks, completely different story. Why? Because they've built awareness around the problem and they practiced replacing it every single day. Step two is interrupting yourself. The moment you feel an coming up, literally catch it, pause, and then reset. It feels awkward and difficult at first, but that pause is literal gold, and that's where clarity happens. A great tip I have learned here is actually closing your mouth when pausing. Closing your mouth literally forces you to stop talking, and you cannot say a filler word because your mouth is closed. And this is important. Don't focus on what not to do. If you're only thinking, don't say don't say don't say you'll say it anyway. It's like when you're learning to drive and someone tells you, don't look at that tree. Guess what happens? You look at that tree and probably steer right into it. Instead, focus on what you should do. Replace with a pause. Focus on the road, not the tree. Step 3 is repetition. This is like going to the gym. One rep will not change anything for you, but over time your brain learns and suddenly pauses feel just completely natural. So now we've got two big credibility killers, undermining phrases and filler words. And here's the actual key. They stack. You say, I'm not sure, but maybe option B could work, and suddenly everything about your delivery screams insecurity. These little habits feel small, but they multiply, and credibility is fragile. It doesn't take a lot to lose it. So let's recap. Drop the weak phrases. Don't frame your point as optional. Swap them for strong, respectful language. And cut the filler words. Don't cover silence with noise. Replace them with pauses. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It is about practicing confident habits until they become natural for you. And when you do that, credibility will follow. Because every time you cut a weak phrase, every time you replace an arm with a pause, you're building confidence one habit at a time. And the more you do it, the more people trust what you say. So stop undermining yourself. Replace the insecure habits with confident ones and watch how people start listening differently. If this clicked, hit subscribe. I post new videos like this every single week about mastering communication, the #1 high income skill. And if you want to practice this with me directly, join my community via the link down below. See you in the next video. Bye bye.